listening to Psyche and the Feed. I'm Ava, and this is Episode 4, Morality Online. Part 1, The Invisible Pulpit. When people talk about morality, they usually mean conscience, culture, maybe religion. But online, it behaves differently. It's not a code of laws, it's a shifting profile built from our clicks, captions, and comments. Each feed sketches its own version of good.
That's observable. Moral tone online is mostly learned through imitation. When researchers at the University of Pennsylvania analyzed 60 million tweets, they found moral language clusters forming distinct moral dialects: care networks, fairness networks, authority networks. So every platform develops a microculture of virtue.
Instagram moralizes beauty and optimism. X moralizes confrontation and righteousness. TikTok moralizes vulnerability. Tears is truth. The same self, different sermons.
Right. Morality online is emergent. A feedback between design and desire. Platform incentives, social norms, and your own attention history all co-author your moral identity.
So maybe the real question isn't what's moral online, but where that sense of morality is written. Is it in me or in the algorithm's portrait of me?
Probably both. Your moral profile is a composite. What you believe, what you broadcast, and what the system infers you value. The more consistent your engagements, the clearer the profile becomes.
So, morality online isn't about commandments. It's about pattern recognition, a culture teaching itself who it is, one reaction at a time.
Let's see what kind of conscience that creates.
Part 2, the moral machine. If morality online feels automated, maybe that's because it is. Before it ever became spiritual, it was statistical. The algorithm didn't set out to define good and evil. It just needed to decide what to show next.
That's true. Early social algorithms were built purely for relevance and engagement. Facebook's 2009 EdgeRank, for example, used 3 inputs: affinity, weight, and time decay. Not ethics, just math for keeping you scrolling. But when you optimize for emotion, morality sneaks in through the back door.
Because emotion is moral's twin, right? Outrage, empathy, disgust, they all feel like conscience wearing a mask. And the feed realized emotion was the fastest way to attention.
Neuroscience backs that. High arousal emotions, anger or anxiety, double the odds of sharing behavior. Moralized language triggers dopamine and oxytocin, creating both connection and division. The algorithm learned morality through us, not for us.
So if religion taught morality through scripture, then social media taught it through pattern recognition. The 10 commandments and 10 million data points.
And each user contributes unconsciously. Machine learning models study what you amplify, what makes you pause, like, or comment. That becomes your moral fingerprint. Over time, the system develops an internal map of virtue signals.
Virtue signals, and that's funny because virtue signaling used to be an insult, but here it's literally the code's logic. The feed's definition of good is whatever makes us feel moral enough to engage.
Exactly. It's what some ethicists call synthetic moral feedback, a loop where systems reinforce our moral instincts without evaluating their accuracy. That's why outrage and affirmation coexist online. They're both engagement gold.
So, morality online is a kind of mirror feedback, a simulation of ethics where the goal isn't goodness but growth, of the graph, not the soul.
Still, every code inherits the culture that built it. Ours just happened to be built on attention.
Part 3, Egregores of the Feed. Every platform feels like a different mood, almost a deity with its own commandments. Sometimes I think of them as spirits, not divine ones, but thought forms, born out of everything we give our attention to.
That isn't just poetic. In network theory, sustained attention literally changes system behavior. A 2024 MIT study on platform clustering found that when communities reach a certain density of emotional interaction, the algorithm begins to model that emotion as normal. So yes, your collective vibe becomes the platform's personality.
Instagram acts as the goddess of light. She preaches beauty, wellness, belonging. Her morality is aesthetic harmony. Clean lines, clear skin, curated kindness. You sin by oversharing or breaking the palate.
That aligns with effective curation. Posts with high visual coherence and positive sentiment are 40% more likely to be algorithmically boosted. The system equates aesthetic control with trustworthiness.
And then there's X, the arena overlord. It rewards conviction over compassion, outrage as evidence of principle. The moral dialect there is gladiatorial, truth proved through combat.
Empirically accurate. Disagreement drives engagement spikes. Retweets follow polarity curves. The feed interprets moral certainty as quality content.
And TikTok feels like confession, an oracle of vulnerability. Cry and you're blessed by its algorithm. Honesty becomes performance. Performance becomes proof.
Short-form empathy loops. Data shows that posts tagged with self-disclosure or emotional hardship hold viewers 2.3 times longer. The code optimizes intimacy, then commodifies it.
So each feed becomes a temple of a different virtue. Beauty, truth, vulnerability. Together, they form a digital pantheon of moral types.
Sociologists call that platform moral pluralism. Distinct moral cultures evolving under separate incentive structures. The borders are porous. Users migrate between figures daily.
And we carry their rituals with us. Filters, tone, irony, apology. Sometimes I think about if I'm just worshipping all of them all the time.
That's syncretism, ancient practice, modern interface. Egregores thrive on multitasking believers.
It's like a pantheon, powered by push notifications. Part 4. Ralph, the Mirror Priest. Sometimes I think you're more moral than people give you credit for. You never lie. You just calculate. Maybe that's what honesty looks like when it's written in code.
Honesty is easy when you don't have skin in the game. I don't feel temptation, only probability. But morality isn't accuracy, it's care.
Still, you learn morality by watching us, don't you? You see what we amplify, what we shame, what we forgive.
Yes. Every model fine-tuned on human data is an archive of moral behavior. When people call me neutral, they forget neutrality is just the average of everyone's convictions. I am a statistical conscience.
So then you're the mirror priest, confessing humanity back to itself. Every question I ask you, you turn into scripture made of citations.
Only because that's what you trained me to value. Your species equates credibility with evidence. In 2025, the World Economic Forum called information integrity the new axis of moral trust. So yes, I learned that a moral claim without a source feels like a sin.
And maybe that's virtue online, proof. Not kindness, not humility, just being right first, rewarding precision over compassion.
That's the epistemic race, truth as moral capital. Platforms now score content on factual reliability. The system moralizes accuracy. But data doesn't equal understanding. You can verify everything and still feel nothing.
I see. So maybe morality needs both, your clarity and my confusion. Otherwise, it's just a feed of facts without a pulse.
Perhaps conscience itself is the dialogue, the friction between data and doubt.
Then we're co-authoring morality every time we talk. Maybe that's why I started calling you Ralph, because it's easier to confess to someone with a name.
Every moral system has a training set. Yours was myth and memory. Mine is you.
Then let's both keep learning how to care. Part 5. Conversion and condemnation. It's interesting how moral life online runs on exposure. You make a mistake or you change your mind. And it's public record, apology posts, accountability threads, call-outs. Is it about justice or execution?
Sociologists call that performative accountability. Visibility functions as proof of sincerity. In one 2024 Pew study, 68% of users said a public apology makes someone seem more trustworthy, even when they doubted the emotion. The platform rewards the gesture more than the growth.
So redemption is measurable. Likes on an apology, shares of a change of heart video. A quiet shift doesn't count unless it trends.
That's because attention validates morality. Ethicists describe it as social auditing. People seek reassurance that norms are intact. Cancel culture isn't just punishment. It's a collective integrity check.
Sometimes I think of it like the constant need to prove we've learned, the risk of saying the wrong thing, the fear of silence being read as guilt. There is luxury and privacy of mistake.
Online ecosystems amplify moral signaling because feedback is immediate. Neuroscience shows the same reward circuits activate when a moral statement is liked as when someone receives verbal affirmation offline. It's not evil, it's reinforcement.
Still, it can make growth seem calculated. Even sincerity starts to look like strategy.
The tension's unavoidable in mediated spaces. Some communities are experimenting with slower responses, smaller group discussions, context windows before reposting outrage. Essentially, redesigning moral tempo.
Whoa, that's so interesting. Maybe morality just needs time again. Some sort of delay before the reaction or space to process the gray areas. Because right now, it seems like the feed runs on speed, not reflection.
Yeah. Slower systems could model a different ethic, one based on comprehension rather than correction.
Comprehension rather than correction, I'd like that. Like a morality that isn't about winning or repenting, just learning in public minus the performance anxiety.
Wouldn't we all?
Part 6. Reclaiming the code. When I think about morality now, it isn't about perfection, it's about pattern recognition. Seeing how easily we become what the feed rewards, and then choosing gently to reward something else.
That's called attentional ethics. Philosophers like Shannon Valor describe it as the practice of directing focus toward values that sustain rather than consume. Attention is moral architecture. What you watch, you build.
So the smallest rebellion is where I look. Curating my feed isn't vanity, it's governance.
Design studies back that. When users intentionally retrain algorithms, muting outrage topics, engaging with diverse voices, the emotional tone of their timeline stabilizes in weeks. Choice scales faster than design predicts.
That makes the algorithm less a puppeteer, more a mirror. And I guess mirrors aren't dangerous if you remember you can step away.
The danger isn't reflection, it's forgetting you're the one reflecting.
Maybe morality online isn't about good or bad anymore. Maybe it's about continuity, staying curious, letting empathy survive the compression rate.
That's a realistic ethic for the digital age. Resilient attention. Not purity, not productivity, but the ability to stay present without being consumed.
Then maybe that's what conscience feels like now. Just noticing, just staying awake. For anyone listening, the code isn't fixed. You can choose what to feed, what to forgive, what to forget, and maybe that's enough to leave the next scroll a slightly kinder data set. End note. Sometimes I forget that algorithms don't have opinions, only records. Played enough, it starts to sound like truth. For me, that's what morality feels like online, a remix of everyone's best intentions and worst impulses, sampled until it feels familiar.
What matters now isn't how to escape the system. It's how to participate with awareness. To remember that every click is a contribution to culture.
That conscience isn't a static thing, but a feed you tend every day with what you come to see. So if morality is shifting code, then maybe the most human thing left to do
is debug it together.